Hey everyone, this is Abhishek Kapoor from Brandworks Worldwide, and today we are going to explore what is Affinity Designer and how is this tool as compared to Adobe Illustrator. Now, Affinity is comparatively a new company and they've been around for the last few years. Uh, Affinity Designer is something that they recently launched, like last year, mid or something. And it has been a great tool, especially if you are someone who's just starting off and cannot afford the humongous subscription cost of Adobe tools. They are very expensive, and when you compare it with Affinity, this comes at a one-time cost, which is like a fraction of a cost as to what Adobe tools come at. But at the same time, Adobe is a big giant. They have a lot of tools and they all come as a suite of all the tools of Creative Cloud. Now, that being said, Affinity Designer offers just three tools. Basically, Affinity offers just three tools. One is Designer 2, the second is Photo, and the third one is Publisher. Now, Photo is pitched directly against Photoshop, uh, and Publisher is pitched directly towards InDesign. And Designer 2 is their competitor when it comes to Illustrator. Now, when we talk about competition, the features are quite a lot same, but nowhere near to what Illustrator has. And Illustrator has a humongous amount of capability, and they have been able to somewhat include like 30 to 40% of those capabilities within the tool, which is great. The second thing which is not there in Affinity is the AI component of it. Illustrator and Photoshop have been integrating AI and icon and imagery creation at a very fast pace recently, which is not a part of the tool as of now. They do not have it. I think it will not be a part of it till they go into a subscription model because AI technology requires a lot of resources. It requires a lot of GPU and computer power. So that being said, enough said when we talk about the comparison. Let's get over to my screen and see what Affinity actually has to offer. So this is how the usual interface would look like. And what you can look into is, okay, so this is how a usual interface that looks like for Affinity. And now I'm going to show you how you can go about creating a new file in it. So all you have to do is you have to go on file, whether you are a Windows user or a Mac user, this option remains the same. You have to click on new, and this is the first screen that opens up. Now, what happens on this screen? So let's see. There is a drop down that you'll notice here, just like other tools. Illustrator has it laid out differently. They have it a little different. And then there is this favorite icon, and they have this orientation option. Like if you want the file to be in a portrait orientation or a landscape orientation. So let's say we select web and we want the FHD option to be as the option that the file opens in. Now, if I click this little heart icon, it will set it as my one of my favorite options. And if I then go to my favorites and I enable this heart icon on the top, it will show my favorites in each category there. So let's say we select this. Now, that being said, there are options of controlling the DPI here. We can increase the DPI to 96, 144, then we have 192, then we have 300, and then we have 400. We'll stay at 72 for now. And then if we check this option called create artboard, then it will create the base file as an artboard. Otherwise, it will not. So this is one of the key options that you need to look into, because if you're working with different, then the other options that you're working on are the same. If you want to change the profile, you can do it from here. You can select Adobe colors or Apple colors. There are some other color variations, but you won't find Pantone or other as much as I see it in Adobe tools. I think this is pretty much useful in day-to-day usage, so nothing as such to worry about. And here you can change the color mode as well. You can switch from RGB to CMYK and all. Now, the third tab here is basically going to talk about margins. You can include margins here. Then you can include the bleed here in terms of pixels. And then there is an option for scale. We do not have an option to change the bleed option from pixel to points or some other measurement for now. But we'll soon figure it out how we can go about do it. There are new categories and presets, but I'll see if I can create another video on that. And that being said, let's create a file, and that is without selecting the artboard option. If I hit create, it will create just one canvas, and this is how it will look like. If you want to create it with artboard, then just hit Control N and select create artboard, and it will create it with artboard. Now you can rename the artboard just like Illustrator here, layout HD1, and then you can use the option key to zoom out with the scroll key on your mouse, and then you can just use the command key and you can create a, you can just left click on your mouse and you can create a copy just like that, and then you can again rename it to something else. Now, what other options do we have here is something that we can, okay, so just a second here. Okay, so somehow this is not working as I desire it to work, but I think it will sooner or later fall in place. Okay, there we go. Now, as this is done, this is how the layout looks with artboards, pretty much the same as Illustrator or Photoshop. Now let's look at how the toolbar looks like. This is more like an introduction to what the tool is about and how you can customize a toolbar. So this is not the usual toolbar. This is a customized toolbar that I've created. How you can go about customizing it, you go to view and you go to customize tools, and it opens a palette of all the tools. I think this option is there in Illustrator as well, but let's say you want certain shapes to be there at a as an easy access. So let's say I want to add this shape also. I can just drag and drop, and there we go. I want to include spirals also, and there we go. Now they have this very cool feature as to how many layouts or how many columns they want the uh, tools to show in. So they have 1 to 8 columns, and it can become like this, or I can select 2, becomes like this, and then we just hit close. There you go. That's your toolbar, much like Illustrator. Very similar interface, very similar features, very similar tool functionalities as well. Now, what is different is something uh, we are going to cover now, is how you save or export files. So let's say you wanted to export a file and you created, let's say, a logo or something, and you wanted to do some smart shape building. So yes, thankfully the smart shape building option is there in this tool as well. So you select both the shapes, and you will, let's say, give them some color and close it. And then what happens is you select both of them and you go to, there is this tool called Okay, this is interesting. I okay, so this is how the shape builder tool looks like. You have the circle and you have the small square, and the intersection is highlighted, and you press the prompt key and you just hit this. Like just click on that section that you want to delete. So you created this brand mark. You can press shift and you can reduce the size, and then you come to the side, and then let's say you want to type something, and let's say you give it a name for locus. Now select all, and then you can go ahead and change the way it looks. Let's say we use this font called Beirut. Now let's say we want to adjust the spacing between the letters. It's very simple, and it's very similar to how it works in Illustrator. So you can go to this tab called position and transform, and you, let's say we select minus 30%, and there we go. Now this is just I'm just playing around with stuff to show you how it works. Now if you want to save this logo, what it will do is it will allow you to save it as an Affinity file, but it will not allow you to save it as a PNG or PDF. For that, you have to use export command. And there also, it will not show you how you can just save this selection as something with transparency. There is no option you can do with transparency here. So that is the biggest glitch or the problem that I feel in it. But the solution to it is hidden within this interface. So what you have to do is, but before I show you that option, you have to select the logo and then go back to that interface called export. And then when you scroll up, there is a tab called area. Now, when you have selected something on the artboard, if you select selection only, then it will just show you the logo to be exported as a PNG. Now, this is a good and a bad feature as well. The good thing is that you don't have to create an artboard, and then you don't have to just, export the artboard. You can just select a certain area and export it directly. The bad thing is it's hidden like this here, which is very ambiguous sometimes to figure out. So that being said, let's say it hit export, and it will just save it to your documents. And uh, there you go. So if you want to see how it looks, okay, so 1 second. Okay, so there you go. This is how it has exported the image. Now, this is one of those options. Then when we go to the export option again, there are other file formats that you can select. There is SVG, EPS. You can also export it as a PDF, and you can export it as JPEG, of course. These are some of the common options that you'll find within the tool. So this is like an introduction to some of the text options, some of the initial tools of the Affinity Designer. I hope you guys liked it. I'll be creating more videos in the sequence. So please stay tuned. I'm just trying to keep the video below 10 minutes length or around 10 minutes. So keep on watching. There's more coming, and I'll take you through this entire tool. I hope you had a good time and this helps you in your graphic design journey. We'll keep it simple, and we'll keep it short, and we'll keep it for beginners. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.